All right, if you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic capital of Nigeria, Lagos. Now let's get to our main conversation for today. It's election day in Rivers State. Some say politicians are spoiling for the worst. The question is, can the new elephant in the room, the Action People's Party, spring a surprise to end the strange hold of the traditional Behemoth PDP and the APC on Rivers State?
In the backstory, protesters gathered at the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission office in Port Harcourt on Friday, demanding that the local government elections scheduled for October 5 proceed as planned.
Very true. The demonstrators chanting and holding placards disrupted traffic and set up canopies despite the rain. The protest followed Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara's early morning visit to the commission's office, where he reaffirmed his stance that the elections would go ahead.
And security forces had initially barricaded the office but left after Fubara's visit. But the Rivers Police Command stated that it would not provide security for the election, in line with a federal high court order.
Fubara criticized the police presence at the electoral office, accusing the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun of taking instructions from Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
And tensions between Fubara and Wike have escalated, with the local government elections seen as a test of their grassroots influence. On Thursday, another protest occurred at the People's Democratic Party PDP Secretariat in Port Harcourt, highlighting and deepening political crisis in the state.
Very true. So that's all we have for our reportage today. Now let's get to have a conversation today. And doing it, we have in the studios legal luminaries, Barrister Van Sofeli and Barrister Danny Damola Kolawole. Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
thank
morning.
you. Good
Thank
morning.
you so very much
Morning.
for your time. And also joining us virtually is Joseph Amauru. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you, sir.
I said good morning.
Oh.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. All right, so let's get into the issue that we have just read out here. Today hopes to be the local government elections for Rivers State. I'd love to start with you, Joseph Amauru. What's your take on what's going on in Rivers State, especially as against Siminalayi Fubara and his godfather, Nyesom Wike?
Good morning once again.
Thank you.
Well, today is a litmus test for democracy and the rule of law in Nigeria. By what has been happening in Rivers State, we will know today if the people really have sovereignty or a few persons. The people of Rivers State appear to be behind their governor, while a few people also do not see eye to eye with the governor. The Supreme Court pronounced and directed that local government elections should be held, whereas local government funds should not be released to governments, to various state governors. And that has forced governments and governors to conduct elections in the last 2-3 weeks. Last week, I think Anambra and Imo held. Upper week on the 5th, some other state governments held their local government elections. And today, I think Rivers and Akwa Ibom will do so. But for Rivers, we're at a loss if it will really hold or not. While the federal government appears, or the federal institutions appear not to support the election, the state is insisting that the election will go on. And local government election is handled by state independent electoral committees. I do not know why this is so, by virtue of the fact that the Supreme Court had pronounced that elections should go on. But the courts have not also heard. There has been at least 2 court judgments or pronouncements that have caused conflicts. One, the Rivers State Judiciary, or a high court in Rivers State, has said the election should go on. And the Federal High Court in Abuja has said the police should not be part of the election, and electoral the Independent Electoral Commission should not hand over the voters register to the state. But the state is saying they can go ahead even without the voters register. So how would they do that? And if there's no security, would there not be problems in the state? Well, the state government has said they will provide their own security. Right. Does the state governor have his own security apparatus? These are things that we'll see as they unfold today.
All right.
I've been trying to make calls to find out if the elections have started, but I have not succeeded.
Okay.
We need to.
Thank you, Joseph Amaro. Yeah, thank you. Barrister Dami Damola, looking at what happened yesterday with the citizens holding placards and raising canopies to chant and speak that they want the election to hold today as scheduled, even though we know those in the higher seats don't want things to go according to how it won't be in favor to them. How do we see today's election unfolding in Port Harcourt?
Well, thank you for the question. We are actually seeing the drama that is playing out within the context of politics and democratic, our experiment in the direction of democratic practices. We would not say is the democratic best practices like, the democracies of developed nations, but it's a prototype, democracy, what in the normal parlance I want to consider as a photocopy, idea democracy. But the idea is, well, it is a work in progress, one way or the other. We are experimenting and we are expecting the fact that our experimentation will gather momentum one way or the other. Let's come to terms with this. It is a known fact all over the world that the issue of godfatherism is a foundation that cannot be discarded. It's also a known fact all over the world. The theory of clientelism and the theory of beneclientism. It's a fact all over the world. The context of a client, a principal, the context of a principal-agent relationship, you cannot discard that in politics. The context of a godfather-godson relationship, you can't discard that in politics. You should also understand that some people see themselves as born to rule. If you look at that, you look at the postulation of Plato, where he dichotomizes, the soul of man into guardianship. Who are the guardians? Those are the ones that see themselves as they are born to rule. They are the philosopher king. You see a section within the dichotomy as the auxiliaries, those that are supposed to protect those that are meant or born to rule. And you see the rest of us as artisans that are retarded, or we are seen as subjects, which is contrary to the constitution. We're supposed to be citizens that have rights, but now we are seen as subjects that are just being relegated to be ruled. You see, so when you look at the class theory, you will understand what is happening in Rivers State today. If you look at the interpretation within the context of Harold Laswell's interpretation of politics, politics is he who gets what, when, and you will find you look at yourself that, okay, so it's about what you get, when you get it, and how you get it, and that's all. The issue is what? The centralized issue is what? Power. Struggle for power. When you struggle for power, the struggle is between classes, the elitists, those who are elite to rule, governing elites, and the non-governing elites. So the struggle in Rivers State is just about the elitists. And that is all. We are not talking about the people. We are not talking about the generality of the people in Rivers State. So how do we harmonize all this? The only way that this can be resolved is, I kept repeating it, we need to go back to the foundation, because we are working our institutions on structural-less foundation. That is the theory of structural functionalism. If we don't dig into theories and principles, we are unable to unravel the plethora of, multifaceted, anomalies that we have in the country. And that is one. You see, now this country today, I will tell you for free, is having a major problem, and that is a lot of the youth, a lot of the middle class really even fail to read. We fail to develop our intellectuality. Now everybody is gunning for, I want to make money, I want to chache, I want to japa, I want to. You see, the concepts that has actually been imbibed in us are negative in direction, negative in development, negative to all. So by so doing, you will be raising concepts like stomach infrastructure and the rest of them. And that's what you also see in similar fact play out in Edo State. People were telling you they are willing to even collect money to sell their right and sell their future, because already we are hungry and we are dying. So the situation is so bad that for us to ameliorate the situation now, we must go back to the structure, the foundation of the mistake of 1914, the marriage of convenience and the plethora of constitutional development that brought Nigeria till we got to the Hugo Willis Commission of 1958 into the independence constitution.
All right, so going back to 1914, of course, obviously, it's a long haul. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Today, local government elections will be held in Benue State, Akwa Ibom State. Unfortunately, River State is neither here nor there. Why do you think this is so, Basifali?
Well, it is so because of the power tussle. I mean, it's self-explanatory that the leaders of that state, especially Wike and the current governor, have made democracy impracticable in River State. It is my state of birth. My mom is from Opobo in River State. I am as disappointed as every other Nigerian that in politics in Nigeria, everything counts except the people. Violence counts, vote buying counts, every other thing but except the people. And because the people are the enablers of the discipline of the elites, there is a cohesion, okay? So at the end of the day, you have a problem. Now, people have blamed the court, and people are making a lot of comments. But if you look at the order of the court didn't say election should not hold. I mean, the court said that INEC should not release voter register. And that has come to our knowledge that the states, electoral, ought to have a voter register. They ought to have. I mean, I see every time they want to conduct election, they now look onto INEC for it. They ought to have it up to date. They should have it. Okay? Now, if you look at the structure down to the order of the court and the police not to provide security and all that, the office of the Nigerian police is created by Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 214 rather. Section 214 of the 1999 Constitution. That of the armed forces was created by Section 218 of the 1999 Constitution. Their functions are different. One is to provide security within, that is the police. Okay. But by extension, the police is not the only option that we have in the provision of security in civil society. That is why Fubara contracted the civil defense. The Attorney General of River State ought to have advised the governor effectively when orders like this are made by a court, and such orders are technically obnoxious. The Attorney General is supposed to, appeal that order immediately, and keep it at abeyance. Because if they had appealed, I don't know whether they appealed. Because you will bring a self-execution of the order in the process of appeal. And then you stay that order to enable election go on. Okay, because in that case, that order cannot be active once there's a self-execution of that order. And then you have some. But the governor has taken a proactive step by approaching the civil defense, which is also an institution created by law. Okay, but to provide similar.
Like the Nigerian
police have no authority. The Nigerian police have no such authority under any law. They have no such authority under any law to tell a sister security agency not to deploy its function for the protection of life and property in a state, in a democratic state. They have no such rights. Okay, what has happened to us is unfortunate. It's unfortunate because people have used their ego and their interest. We have strong individuals in this country. Our institutions are very weak. That's the problem we're facing. Okay? I mean, one very senior lawyer yesterday, I was so disappointed. A senior advocate of Nigeria from Rivers State was calling the governor to obey court order. What is the order of the court? Did the court say that there should be no election? Or did the court say that the local government election should not hold? The court didn't say that. The orders are directed to INEC and the police. Okay? And these are two federal institutions. The conduct of the local governments within the purview of the state. So if the two federal institutions are not ready because of the court order, let the state conduct that election with its own apparatus or with any other federal institution that is willing to provide security. We cannot see, as much as I blame Fubara for not conducting the election, as at the time Justice James Omotosho of the Federal Court Abuja gave an order that they should conduct election far last year.
Even if he wasn't ready?
Yeah, he left it. He left it now because, and in the line of order, he's the last person to constitute a critical committee. You know, his own was just 2 months ago. You understand? Now, because of that money they want to collect, everyone is running up and down to, not because of democracy. That is the injury to the soul of the Nigerian state because of money. The same money, they will not apply it to the people. So as much as I believe that there should be local government election, which is by law, which is what the law says, I also differ. I also will not support these governors who are conducting election up and down just because they want to get allocation and then entrench that same bad governance that we have from the center to the respective regions.
Thank you, Barrister Evans. Thank you. Joseph Amaru, back to you. There's been an explosion in Port Harcourt this morning. And what does this mean for the election that is supposed to take place as of this morning? Because the explosion will definitely have an effect on some of the citizens and helping them come out to come vote this morning.
You said there has been an explosion?
Yes, there's been an explosion.
Breaking news, actually, from Port Harcourt, there's been an explosion there. So what do you think that will have on the elections today, especially with regards to electorates who might not want to come for security reasons?
Of course, it will add to fear. Explosion is not a good thing. And it's not part of an election. It's violence. If there's an explosion on election day, and there are conflicts and threats before that explosion, what do you expect from the people? The ordinary people will be scared to come out. And it will add to electoral journey being discredited. So I think it's a very sorry situation that Rivers State is going through this. I was a Rivers indigene. You know, I'm from Bayelsa. We were Rivers people. We were proud Rivers people before we were made Bayelsans. And it's unfortunate that this is happening. Somebody said it's a structural thing there. It's not a structural thing. It's power tussle between two persons, which is affecting the ordinary people. And like Barrister Ofeli just observed, it's not, even the whole struggle is not for the benefit of the people. Even the election they are conducting, it's not for the benefit of the people. It's for their own pecuniary benefit. What will come out of it? It's all about self-aggrandizement. Somebody is saying, somebody was trying to rationalize federalism in politics all over the world. Even in other places where there's godfatherism, it doesn't come to the fore. It doesn't come to disturb the operation of governance. This is disturbing the operation of governance. An explosion is a bad omen. Even when this election is conducted, are we sure that it's going to stand? The result is going to stand? Will the judiciary allow it to stand? Because there will be a litany of litigations here and there. Will it stand? That's even if because the election is going on, I understand, in various places in Rivers State. I understand the election is going on. But will it stand? Will it stand the test of time? Like I said at the beginning, it's a litmus test for democracy and the rule of law in Nigeria. Politicians must obey the rule of law. The Supreme Court gave a pronouncement, and high courts also gave pronouncements. Which are we going to obey, the Supreme Court or the High Court? Of course, it's the Supreme Court. And so these High Court pronouncements were of no, they should have not even happened. But because power mongers think that they can use the court to undo the people and undo democracy, they went to court. Now they are fighting amongst themselves. They are throwing explosions here and there. The people are going to be affected the more because people are going to be scared to come out to vote. Thank you.
All right, Vice Dami, I'd love to ask you this. Is this a favorite African saying that goes, what the lion does not lose sleep over what the goats dream about. Now let's bring the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu into the picture here. Why do you think the president is not losing sleep over all of these things happening today in Nigeria? Could it be that he is interested in what is going on in River State?
Thank you very much. Fundamentally, the question you asked, but I will also tell you that there's nothing that is happening in any part of Nigeria that is not in the know of the executive. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president. We are practicing the presidential system of government. You see, there's delegated responsibilities to persons. Those who are delegated to represent the president are also doing the bidding of the president. So you can't delineate in context. I don't think there's any appointee of the president that will be doing contrary to the dictate of the president, and then the executive will look on or look away from it and actually act as if he's not aware of it. Well, let's come to terms with it. We've talked about a whole lot of things. We should also understand that look, there are constitutional provisions within the context of the responsibility of the executive in Section 5. And there are constitutional provisions that have been given to the legislature in Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution. There's also constitutional responsibility given to the judiciary in Section 6. Well, we said this, and I'm going to repeat it here, that look, the executive in Section 5, the arithmetic computation of that, the Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution, decides to become the Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution for the confirmation of the Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution. That is what we have to do. You should then understand that the Section 5, he who pays the piper, dictates the tune to the Section 6 by the confirmation of the Section 4. How do you expect that, somebody that is appointed by one will go contrary to, it is an aberration, so to say, and then we tend to, understand the concept of separation of power in that context. How do you explain it, the Baron de Montesquieu's postulation? We cannot have it. We will not be able, because the means and manner by which we practice, even the means and manner by which we interpret, we are always interested in interpreting the lacuna in our constitution. Basically, what you want to see is the lacuna in the constitution by which you can use to suit your whims and caprices. And that is what you have now. Look, there are plethora of decisions of the courts. And if you look at what Oliver Wendell said, that the postulation of the court is the law. You see that? So, but look, our judges, even most of our colleagues as learned personality, will always want to interrogate where are the lapses in these, issues by which we can come in to scuttle and ensure the fact that the conclusive end of our interest is achieved.
But there's nothing bad with that, isn't it?
There's nothing bad with that, because what we are supposed to do is also interrogate issues. In the simple issues of contract, what we are interested in is interrogate that contract, ensure the fact that we look at the lapses or lacunas in it, and be able to use that lacuna to achieve our end product. It's a means to an end. But you see, the Constitution guarantees a lot. And in the you see, look, what you should know that there is what we call judicial interpretations to principles and concepts in law. There are literal interpretation, there are a golden interpretation, there are a jus dem rule interpretation, there are mischief interpretation. And all that are principles of law. So what you will look at is what area of interpretation are you coming in to decide to be able to achieve whatever, goal or aim you want to achieve. And that's the reason you see somebody from this end is giving a judicial decision to this, and somebody from other end is giving another judicial to that. All that is encapsulated within the control of the executive.
Thank you, Barrister Danley. Barrister Evans, this will be our last question, and you should just add it as a parting shot too. If at this point, the rate at which Nigerians practice godfatherism is this dirty and deep, to the point where we believe that we need to go back to the beginning, be able to scrap out something so that we can be able to get a society where democracy can thrive. How well can this start, and how well can we be able to eradicate godfatherism to a level where democracy can still bring out its head and thrive in Nigeria?
Godfatherism can only be fought and dismantled when the people are ready to ensure that their vote counts. And the day they drop this beggarly democratic endeavor, this vote buying, where people go to sell their, I said it before that people can be, disciplined in their poverty. You see this 10,000, 20,000 they collect, it cannot solve the problem. Even democracy itself, running proper, cannot solve the problem of the poor. Because democracy is not even a good system of government. It just promises everybody everything and delivers nothing. At least as it is practiced in Nigeria. Okay, look at what is going on. Now, the police are saying, the court have spoken. So it is now that the police want to obey the court.
You realize and respect the court.
It is now the police want to respect the court. And let me challenge that order. Let me challenge that order. Section 1, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution. This Constitution is supreme.
That's supremacy clause.
And its provision shall have a binding force on all persons and authority throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That if any law is contrary to the provision of this Constitution, if any law, including case law, yes. Because what the judge did now is what we call pronouncement, which is case law. If any law is contrary to this Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail, and that other law, to the extent of its inconsistency, shall be void. Okay? So that is supposed to be the ground of appeal of that ruling. And if you had done that, you bring the stuff as a ruling, you put it at abeyance, the election will continue. Before we get back to that in court, it would have been overtaken by. That's why I said the Attorney General of the state ought to have done that. Because this resort to civil defense, civil defense can be overwhelmed. I know the bear arm now. But how many are there? How many are there in River State? What is the population of River State? This is a river area. Do they have the boats? Do they have the helicopter? Do they have civil defense? Don't have a helicopter. They don't. Okay, so how are they going to man that topography to ensure that they're able to protect lives and properties along that coast? It's difficult because the police have hands up. Okay, so I think that the people at some point will have to activate the Constitution for themselves. Yes, it is the law. Sovereignty belongs to the people, through which government derive her legitimacy. You understand? So we are in a crossroad in River State, and this is a test to the fact that the average Nigerian who want to see good governance will have a long way to go, because those who should pretend over their affairs have made it practically impossible for them to, be partakers of democracy. Okay, you only go to them when you want to campaign. Then you placate them, you are leaders, you do all that. But at the end of the day, the politician also are aware that they don't matter, that their vote don't count, that all you need to do is to intercept INEC and the court. And then you have victory, which is unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So until the people wake up from their slumber and decide to own democracy, nothing will move forward in this country.
All right, Joseph Amaru, let's have your parting shot on what's going on and what do you think is the best advice at this point to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what's happening in Rivers State?
Well, the people should go ahead and vote and defend their votes. We hope that those in authority will also respect the will of the people so that democracy will come to play. Because without the people, there's no democracy. Democracy is about the people. In the definition of democracy, it's people, people, people. So the people should do the needful. Well, the people's constitution would have been the best, but the people seem to have gone to sleep. So some people have to galvanize the people to wake up and ensure that the people's constitution is brought into bear. And when the people have their own constitution, because the constitution we operate today is a lie against itself, by saying that we the people proclaim it, we the people did not proclaim the 1999 constitution as amended, is a military constitution, until we write our own constitution, where all these gaps in our democracy are taken care of. That is when we can have true democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I will truly do appreciate your time, Joseph Amaru. Thank you so very much. Pastor Dami, thank you as always.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Pastor Basufeli.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. True. Unfortunately, there's going to be a very, very long haul.
Yeah, it's
the
actually
Action
long
People's
haul.
Party already have a crack right now. There's two factions of the Action People's Party in Rivers State. Unfortunately, I hope this ends well.
And I pray nobody dies at
I
the
hope
end of this
so.
election.
I
We pray we don't record any casualty.
Yeah, very true.
And
well, so this is just about the time we have for our show today. We'd love to say thank you to you, most importantly, for giving us your time. You've streamed, you've watched, we truly do appreciate it. But please do well to visit us when you want to. You can always find us at Enterprise TV News.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry.
and I'm Choma Okohe.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.